I just was made aware. I was speaking with a journalist today, and the journalist brought up the fact that there's a recent Pew survey, and that Pew survey discovered that 30% of Americans consult horoscopes, sorcerers, or fortune tellers at least once a year. At least once a year. And that 10% of those use them to make their day-to-day decisions. So there's 3% of people, of all of America. All right. So we're talking millions of people that are making their decisions based on this, based on consulting the occult. And so it's all around us. Like, look, you sign up at some parishes for for like a ladies group, and guess what? The ladies group, they're going to go to the Reiki parlor, and the Reiki parlor is an act of the occult, right? You have now at some parishes, you have the local Masonic lodge extending an invitation for the men to come in and become members of the lodge, and having both entities collaborate with one another. But Masonism is an occult entity. It just, like, if you took away all the Masonic demonic entanglements, you would an exorcist, your local exorcist, would recover a whole lot more time, right? There'd be way less work for him, right?
Isn't yoga's also an issue, isn't it? And
yoga is also an issue.
enneagrams.
I've had a person who became possessed through the practice of yoga, and so I want to be clear about that, because immediate, like, you know what, and in fact, the yoga episode that I put out on the Exorcist Files, what received the most, it received tens and tens and tens of thousands of different feedback messages, and many of them vitriolic. They were vehemently against the message that I put out. And what they say, I mean, they all boil down to, I don't do it for religious purposes. I do it for exercise. I have no intention of consecrating myself to any Hindu deity, regardless of what you say. And so you are just trying to instill fear where fear is just plainly not needed. Like, your message here is absurd. And my point is, with yoga, if you talk to a yoga practitioner, and actually an actual native practitioner of yoga, and ask them, is there any way that yoga can be done apart from a religious sense? Every single one of them is going to say no. That the gestures, the poses, are religious by their very nature. They are an invocation of Indian deities. And in some cases, the postures are an imitation of the sins of Hindu deities, in the sense that one of the poses, which I forgot its name at the moment, but it's one of the more common poses. It imitates a murder that one of the Hindu deities did to one of his siblings. And so why in heaven's name would you want to engage in that for the purposes of exercise?
Yeah.
Right. So it's not the case, and I'm not saying that you practice it one time and you're going to get a demon. But what I am saying is, you're playing roulette, because you're opening yourself up to a relationship. And that's the point. When you open a door to the demonic, you can't control what comes in from the other side.